but you won't have an office because you'll be a hologram.
I'll be 85. I'll be a hologram. Wow, it's got real.
Welcome to Make It Happen TV with episode 2 with the fantastic Lewis Allsopp that we have here. Hopefully you saw the last episode and you enjoyed what Lewis had to tell you about his upbringing, his youth, and really what kind of person he was, and the kind of success he had when he was a kid at school, which wasn't very much, to be honest with you.
Limited.
Welcome again.
Thank you, mate.
We were talking the other day about really the attitude of salespeople in the real estate industry, the kind of negative attitude that some of them have, and how that impacts upon a business,
yes.
And then the owners of a business getting impacted by that. Do you think that selling real estate is the same as selling anything else?
With me, real estate is a need. It's not a want. I think I said it last time we were speaking on the interview. No, it's not, because you've got your pensions and you've got cars and you've got whatever else. Maybe in Dubai, there's no such thing as homelessness. So you either rent or you buy. So it is different. In sales, there's a need and a want. You know, people want the new PlayStation, they want the new TVs, whatever it may be, but people need a home. So people have to come and speak to us. I'd say it's a little bit different from my point of view. So
do people not need a retirement plan?
Well, I don't have one. I think in the modern day, I think people use property as a retirement plan. Mm-hmm. So definitely there's pensions, etc. And I'm aware that there's a lot of successful companies that do it. But in today's world, there's other avenues for pension plans, and people are using property as that vehicle. Mm. There's two aspects to it. There's the investment, which is the pension, but then there's your home. And the thing that's the need is the home.
Okay, so you're telling me then that selling real estate is probably easier than selling anything else?
It can be. I do believe it's not a hard sale. Real estate for me is two things. First of all, it's having the property. So that's quite a hard bit to do, because you've got to do your prospecting, your door knocking, your technical, your PPC, whatever you've got to do to generate.
People won't know what PPC is. What's PPC?
Pay per click. So
Sorry.
Google advertising. So if someone searches, they want to buy a property in JBR. If they search, then you can pay to become top of Google. So there's things you'll do to generate listings. But the easy bit for real estate is people. That translates to anything. It can be pension planning, it can be property, it can be picking your gardener. If you get on with your gardener, you will use that gardener. So there's two aspects to it. It's the product and the people. If you get them two matched together, I'd say halfway there. So real estate is not a massively difficult thing to do. I've got people from my office and other offices, and they really overcomplicate it. They overcomplicate real estate, and they'll tell you how they should pitch an offer and how they should speak to an owner. And I'll sit there sometimes like, just speak to them. Tell them what your thoughts are, what your opinions are. And people have this perception that real estate is a real technically gifted thing, but it's not. It's people.
What's easier, finding a seller, or finding a buyer?
Oof, what a question. What do you think? As a non-real estate?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, you guys spend a lot of money in your industry on adverts to generate leads of people that are going to buy. Mm. So the portals here, the Dubizzle, the Property Finder, the Bayut, those kind of places are where if I was looking to buy a property, I'd probably go. Yes. So if I probably go there, then I would suggest it probably easier if you're going to be buying leads to buy leads of sellers. Can you buy leads? Sorry, buy leads of buyers. Yeah. Can you buy leads of sellers?
I wish.
So that is the more complicated.
So let's say, for instance, you wanted to sell your house. There's a question again at you. If you want to sell your house, what's the first thing that comes to mind? What do you do? Who do you call?
An estate agent.
Who?
Which estate agent?
Yeah. Because you're not calling us. Let's take us out of the equation, because I know you would say us on TV. But who out? You call a friend or someone you know, yeah?
Someone I know. Yeah, someone I know in real estate. Yeah.
This is how the market works, and this is the big problem that a lot of brokers are coming to trying to overcome. Because if I picked up my phone today and I didn't know Allsopp and Allsopp, I'd go to one of my friends that does real estate and say, no matter how good their company is, the company's the second port of call. You then think about this. It took us 10 years for people to think, you want to sell your house? We'll go to Allsopp and Allsopp. But that's the second port of call. The first port of call is, I know Spencer. I know Lewis. I'm going to text him now and tell him I need to sell my house. Who does he know, or can he help me? So the hardest bit is actually getting listings. Listings is a difficult job.
So listings is the seller, getting people to sell their property. Okay.
But it goes back to the same thing that I talked to you about 1 minute ago. You would only contact that person because you like them. Mm-hmm. It's the people game. It's not about the brand. Big believer in people follow people. They never follow the brand. No matter how good I think my logo is, and it is good. It's a good logo.
There you go. There you go.
People don't follow the logo. You know, people do contact me and say they want to sell the house, but they'll contact me. So out of 100 listings that we take on, I'd probably say 15 are people that contact us for Allsopp and Allsopp, which is amazing because other companies will not even get thought of. There's thousands of real estate companies in Dubai. No one knows 99% of them. They know the top 5, and then 5 people will get called. So these other smaller companies, 100%, they'll be scratching their head saying, how have these guys got this property live? What have they done? There's the ways you can do it. You can go and door knock properties that are for sale. You can leaflet drop, which obviously in Dubai is quite difficult to do with the security, etc. And then obviously the big thing for us, which is massive, how we generate listings. Take the tech out of the equation because that's a different aspect. But if you've got a company that has a very large database, so our database is 10 years deep. I've worked out we've spent 8 digits minimum just on marketing over a 10-year period. So it's a ridiculous amount of money. That money is all built into our system. So if you take into account all the landlords that we've had, we may have listed you as a landlord 8 or 9 years ago. At some point, you'll receive an automated email or an automated call from us. Spencer, how you doing? You listed for rent with us 8 years ago. Is it time for a new valuation on your property? So we've got this back pool of data where we can get listings from. And 99% of the companies in Dubai can't do that. And this is why we talked about the big brands before coming over. They're coming over with their logo. But what I said to you before, people don't follow the logo. They follow the people. So these guys will struggle off the back of that. So from my point of view, databases, I always say data's the new oil. It's then what you do with the data. You know, if you use the data, if you're using artificial intelligence, are you using triggers? Are you working with the data? And if you're not speaking to data or what we call clients, very simply, then you're not utilizing it correctly. But a lot of companies don't have the benefit of what we have.
I always say to my clients, own the data, own the market.
Correct.
And so that's really the be-all and end-all to control really how you communicate with the masses.
But there's such smart things to do with it now. I'm not going to reveal because there's more people listening to what we do with it and what we are planning to do.
Why not?
Because I can't.
Oh, come on, give a couple of snippets away.
People sitting there with their notepads.
Yeah, but you know what? It's all about, you know, you'll come out with a good idea or you'll say something that you're doing because you've got a successful business. I guarantee you, of all the people that are watching, okay, some of those people are going to hear that idea. They're going to share that idea with other people in the industry maybe or other people that are selling. Okay, but the reality is, most people, and you know who you are, most people don't take action.
Yeah.
So they'll hear your good idea, they hear what you're going to implement, and there'll be 100 people that go, oh, that's a really good idea.
Yeah.
One of them will do something about it, and 99 of them will either forget, okay, make a little bit of time for research into it, okay, and give up because it's too much like hard work, okay, or, okay, say your idea's shit.
But if you're watching this, is Spencer being a salesperson and he's trying to get out of me my ideas. Look,
you're here to educate an audience.
Of course, I'm not there to write their business plan. No, there's a lot of ideas that we have. Obviously.
Okay, talk to me about technology. And give me one snippet. Give me not lots, but one snippet of stuff that you can do with technology that people don't generally think about.
So I'm not going to give you my main one because this will blow the market open in about 6 months. I'll tell you off camera and then you'll probably say it on the next episode anyway.
I will.
He will.
I will. I promise you I'll find out. I'm
just going to
find out and I'll tell you what, no matter what, I'll find out and I'll let you know what it is.
I'm just going to say something really bad, like give all your clients Allsopp and Allsopp, that's the technology.
Yeah.
Look, so simple idea. Other people won't be able to do this one, so I'm happy to share this with you. But being able to give an instant valuation online. So you have a property. Spencer wants to sell his property on the Palm, the Barari, wherever it may be. You put in your information, put all the information, and we will give you an instant valuation online based off recent transactions that have happened. So we're using technology, and off the back of that...
Oh, so you're taking into consideration transactions that have happened in that geographical area of the same type of property to give you a ballpark estimate of the value of that property.
There'll be more tech involved in it. They'll take trends and, you buy information that you have based off what the value was versus what the marketing value was versus the sale value. There'll be other trends put into it, but this type of technology, we go back to why I use Deliveroo. The only reason I use it is because it's so easy, and there's no real place at the moment in the market for someone to be able to go, do you know what's my house worth? What do normal people do? They go on Property Finder, they search what's available in the market. But it's not real life data. It's not real sold data. So if you can create some tech like that...
Hey, you know what? People don't think about that, though. Buyers out there, sellers out there, and those of you that are sellers that are watching this is important information for you. They don't look at Property Finder or Bayou or one of these others. Go on those sites and look at a property that's identical to theirs and look at the price and think their house is worth any less than that. So sold data is really important here, because what something's for sale for is irrelevant, isn't it?
This is the problem with Dubai at the moment. That's being rectified by some of the portals and trying to create real listings, because we've had the issue for years where people are putting listings on for something's worth 7 million and they've got brokers listing it for 10 million. And what happens is Spencer sees the property and goes, well, actually, people have got it listed for 10 million. And until you show them what it's worth and what it's actually selling for, they believe in what's actually put on the internet. And like you said, they're not looking at the sold data, they're using the marketing data. And then they come and knock on your door and they'll go, it's been on the market 6 months. Why has it not sold? So, we have to use, I'm a big believer in using data, using what we have, information that we do have. And, I do believe that over the next few years, we're going to innovate this market beyond what I think anyone can do with the information we've got, the resources we've got. And there's more technology which, I will share over the next 2 or 3 months, because we've written the checks out to the tech companies already to get it all started. So it's all happening at the moment, and I do believe that technology will be a massive part. I think I said in your interview before, it's probably 60% tech in the future, 40% people.
Well, let's just go to that, because if we think about that whole, does it make a salesperson obsolete?
Yes.
I think that in some industries, salespeople have already become obsolete, particularly in retail.
Well, you look at the high streets now.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've just been to London, New York, and I'll tell you what, there's some places in Dubai at the moment, where one of our offices at the moment, new one we've just opened up, there's still boards there. They should be rented by now. New York, you go down 51st, and there's for rent boards there. You go to SW1, and you see people, that shouldn't happen. That is a high street, and this is a big issue at the moment, because your companies like Amazon, you're talking about obsolete companies. I was talking to someone yesterday at a family barbecue mine the other day, and I was talking to someone about technology and how it's affecting the high street and people's jobs. And I said, I sat down and I listed the things I'd ordered from my house. So I ordered some protein bars. I know, yeah. I thought that's what you do. Do you not eat the protein bars and you get muscly? I thought you eat the protein bars and get muscly. That's what I've been told you do.
You rub them on your arms.
That's why it's not working. So I ordered a protein bar. I ordered a router. I ordered a new TV. And I ordered 2 Apple Watches. So that's what I ordered over, I think it's like a 10-day period. And I said to myself, what's really shocking is that I didn't buy one thing from any shop. It's all on souk.com. And if you go back 15 years ago, I went to Curry's, Toys R Us, Blockbuster, you name these places, and they're all gone. Mm-hmm. So that's the worrying sign that I'm seeing at the moment with retail and people's jobs, is that tech, and there needs to be some sort of middle ground between tech and people. And if it doesn't happen, I can't see there being any high streets in 30 years. It's a big problem. I've got a personal solution for it. I think that there's an idea I would have that would work. And that idea would be simple. It would be, if you're on souk.com, or if you're on these high street companies, you have to have a high street presence. So if you want to advertise on souk.com, you have to take something on a situated high street. So that way you're subsidising.
You mean the government make that a rule?
Yeah. Why not? Because something will have to be done. Otherwise, it will be all of us sitting in our houses going, I want to go shopping. Okay, we'll just get our iPad out. You can't go to the mall anymore. Something will have to change. And it's not a bad thing. These companies are very successful, multinational, multi-profit companies. And internet has taken over retail, but something will need to give. So my opinion would be do something like that.
I don't think it will.
I don't think it will either.
I think you're completely wrong. I don't think that you're ever going to see a situation like you've seen in the past again. I think that the way that we're going to live is different, and the way
you think it is different.
I think the way that we already live is different, and I think the way we're going to live in the future is only going to be more so. This device here, as much as we spend time on it now, we will spend more and more and more time on it. And when Google came out with those glasses,
I had them. The biggest waste of money ever.
And then in the future,
so people thought I was weird. I like taking pictures. They were like, "What's he doing? Winking at me? I'm taking a picture on my Google Glass."
But that. What happened with that technology is that the market wasn't ready for that technology.
Correct, agreed.
It will be ready for it.
100%.
Okay, but it's not ready for it right now. And whether it comes in the form of glasses the same, or whether it's a contact lens, or whether it's a telephone that's on your hand like that, all this kind of stuff, I just don't think we're going to do the same things that we used to do. And it's sad because, you've grown up in an era where you've seen a high street and you've seen the community that goes with it.
So you don't think, in your opinion, in 30 years' time, there's going to be a high street for city centres?
Dead.
Really? Mm-hmm. Wow.
There'll be a high street, but it won't be the same type of high street. So you'll have more businesses on the high street and less retail outlets. There'll still be things that we need to get on the high street.
Yeah.
At the moment, I mean, women buy clothes online.
Yes.
Men don't so much.
I do.
Okay, do you?
Don't fit 50% of the time.
You shove them in the wardrobe.
Send them back. I try them on them, but they still don't fit. The protein bars are not working.
Stop shoving them down your trousers. But I think that we will change to a point. I mean, at the moment, I would never buy clothes online.
Yeah.
My wife does, but I wouldn't. I want to go in and try them on. Okay, and that's the place I'm at.
Yeah.
Eventually, that generation, which is...
But that's the generation difference between me and you. That's honestly what you should take into account.
Yeah, exactly. So that generation behind me, which is essentially you at 31, 32 years old, you're the generation that are consuming everything online. And you're not thinking twice about it. My kids know more about my phone than I do. My kids set my phones up. My kids set my computers up.
Yeah.
So when I look at that, I think that 100% people are going to eventually buy houses, I believe, from looking at them sat on their sofa. They're going to sit with their virtual reality glasses on, and they're going to do that. Because you know what? They're going to have driven around the neighbourhood beforehand. They're going to know where they want to live. Okay? And then they're going to do that. Does that mean the final purchase... the final viewing before purchase won't be done in person? No, I don't think that will happen. People will still need to go and touch and feel it.
Yeah.
But I've bought property that I've never seen. And
I'm distressed. That's why you bought it, mate.
I was distressed.
Yeah, all right.
No, but I've bought property in the UK over the years, and I've still never seen it. One property I'm just selling at the moment that I've had for I think 12 years, never seen it.
Yeah, but them properties, and I get that. I've bought properties. Like the last two that I've bought, I've never even set foot in. But they were good, wise investment choice. I'm sure they're the same with you. But if you were buying a house, the last house you went to, there's no way you would have bought that house without visiting it. There's no way. So I do believe,
at the moment, But that's because the alternative is to look at pictures online.
What? But you believe that, let's say in 20 years' time, hypothetically, you think that people are going to look on put their headsets on, and they're going to look around and they go, do you know what? I'm going to spend £1 million here without actually visiting it.
Yeah.
Wow.
I really believe that. I really believe people are going to do that. And £1 million for a house in 20 years' time is going to be nothing as well.
Amar, has he taken his pills today? Because he's a little bit...
I don't think so.
What do you reckon? Do you agree? Do you think eventually that's what's going to happen?
Well, I agree that it's going to happen, but I hate to see it happening.
Yeah, no, I'm not suggesting for 1 minute I like it, but I think that's what's going to happen.
I'll give you an example then. So you've got your purple bricks, and I always mention them in the UK because they've made a big impact in technology. They don't have a high street presence.
So who are Purple Bricks?
Purple Bricks are an estate agency launched maybe 5-6 years ago, and they're an online estate agency with no high street presence.
Okay.
They've done well. They've done very well. How well they will do, I don't know, because people still have the sentiment of, walking into high streets. We get it now. Jumeirah Golf Estate's office. Yesterday, my manager texted me and said, "I'll just a lovely couple walk in. They want to buy a house. They want to sell their house. We went and valued it, took the property on, and find a new home." So I still believe that generation gap, let's say at 20, 30 years, I will still want to walk into high street. I'm sure if you go on holiday, do you not go to, let's say you've got your big real estate companies in Marbella, wherever you go. I don't know where you go. Is it Marbella?
No.
You look a Marbella boy.
It might be you.
Yeah, not me. But when you walk down the high street, do you not have a browse at the prices? I do it everywhere I go. That's the sort of hobby of ours. We like to see what you can buy for your money.
when you're on holiday looking at property prices and estate agents' windows. I agree. But take it this way. When I grew up, we had high street branches of banks.
Yeah.
Okay. We now don't have many of them.
Correct.
My children are going to start banking fairly soon. They're 18 and 16. Yeah. They've got accounts, but they're going to probably start banking properly as they go through uni. Their first exposure to banking is going to be online banking. My first exposure was a checkbook.
Yeah.
They're not going to know what a checkbook is.
Yeah. True.
They never would have seen it. It wouldn't have even been in the good old days, because they wouldn't have seen it. You're a transitioning age where you saw some of the older stuff, but you're a generation where you live in that newer stuff. Well, go back to my 18-year-old daughter. She didn't see that. So the high street doesn't have the same significance for her. She wouldn't often go to a high street.
People don't want a queue. Do you know what I mean? That's the honest truth. Over in Dubai, if you want a credit card, people come to you. You know what I mean? So I get there's a time aspect, and tech is definitely part of that. But if I've ever got a mortgage, bought a car, whatever it may be, the tech will be amazing. But at some point, the person needs to interact with that.
If you don't know any different, if you don't know that you can go to a shop to buy glasses, you only know because that's what you've been taught since you were young, that you buy your glasses online, then you don't say, I'd prefer it if I could go to high street.
So what's going to happen to all these people then that have jobs? What are they going to do?
So the places, the business parks, I believe, will be expanding. I think that high streets will turn into business parks, and the things that service groups of people. So your office building, for example, what's there? What do people want? Okay, they can't get in their office. Well, you know, they want a coffee.
Yeah.
Now they could get what they will do is they'll order it online.
Yes.
Okay.
Still do that now.
But there will still be someone that makes the coffee.
Yeah.
Now that might be a pretty shop front downstairs in your lobby area of your building. Or it might be somewhere where you can't see anything and the blokes are working out the back creating the coffee, and then the guys on the motorbike or whatever it is delivering it to you. So the things that people need, our food we're going to need, and our coffees we're going to need, and stuff like that, there's still going to be people that bring that through the door.
Yeah.
Okay? Some of us, what you'll find is in the future there'll be these... Have you ever been to the Burlington Arcade?
No.
Just off Bond Street, where they sell all the second-hand watches?
I have been there.
Okay.
Yeah,
this is some kind of like old-fashioned, traditional, beautiful parade in London where you go and you see lots of kind of antique-type stuff. And I think that kind of thing will become novelty.
What, like estate agents? Like, we walk through there. It's a novelty. Look, they're selling houses in there.
You're sitting there with grey hair with a long beard.
Please come in. Spencer was right 20 years ago.
Hello. But people will, for the benefit, like classic cars, for the benefit of nostalgia, they'll exist for those reasons.
But the other option is going back to we talk about. I do believe that offices do need a premises. You know, a business needs a premises. So,
well, yes and no.
The issue that I face and that I see with retail at the moment is that people are not adjusting to the world. So retail at the moment, the offers we've just taken are 3 times the value of what you'd pay for a commercial unit. So your retail, ground floor, passers by walking in. Commercial, it's in a building, it's in a warehouse, wherever it may be. There's no real value anymore, except from me talking about the couple of success stories I've had. I may have value now, and maybe for the generation the next 10, 15 years, because there's people like me that are in their 30s that like to go and sit and speak to people. But maybe you are right. Maybe the next stage, if people want an office, retail prices have to change maybe. You know, that's a big factor, you know.
Yeah, but if you were to go and rent in Bishop Stortford High Street in the UK, you were going to rent a retail space, it would cost you nothing. Because there's loads of places with signs up for rent. So there's loads of competition.
Stubborn landlords are where we are at the moment.
It doesn't matter about the landlords. The simple fact is, you know this because you know every person that sells a property paid for that property what someone's willing to pay for that property.
I know, but what I find with retail is they're owned by big companies. These big companies do not budge on their price, and this is why, you know, when they're in prime locations, and I think it will be a problem for them, is that they'll say, I want £100 a square foot. People are not paying that; they're paying 50, but they'll happily leave empty. This is Dubai. I see it with landlords. Landlords that have got cash properties, you can offer them 5,000 dirhams below what they're asking. I'd rather leave it empty. And you'd be like, mate, it's been 6 months. You've lost 6 months. I don't care. I want that $5,000. So there's that stubborn factor when you're at that level, and I believe that's where a lot of the retail market will be at.
But that's the law of economics at the end of the day. People that are stupid doing that aren't understanding maths. Eventually, the time will come
when they got to pay the bills.
You know, the X is better than nothing. You know, so I think that's the case. I just think that the way that we perceive things is different. I think that you talk about people needing a premise.
Yes.
I mentioned downstairs earlier on to you about Heather Wild, who was at Evernote. Heather took 5,000 users to 100 million users.
Yeah.
Whilst living out of a RV and travelling around America.
Yeah.
She didn't work from an office ever.
Yeah, but that's at the moment, that's a pure tech company, isn't it, Evernote, really?
Well, okay, fine. But what I'm trying to say is more and more companies are going tech savvy, which means more and more roles within companies are going to be tech focused. Which means
you go to Marks and Spencer's now, you scan yourself when you walk out yourself. Yeah. So I get it, it's a peopleless environment. But going back to your Marks and Spencer's, we will always go back and forth on this. They still need a shop for people to walk into. And that comes at the high footfall, whether that's a shopping mall or an airport. If they don't have their shop there, they're not going to get the footfall to sell their product.
The first bank to launch in the UK that had no branches was First Direct.
Yeah.
Do you remember?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you remember?
You're old enough to remember. Yeah.
Okay, so when they launched, they had no branches. Mm-hmm. They have been a hugely successful business with no branches.
Yeah.
There will come a time, and it may not be in the next 10 years. I think it will, but it may not be in the next 10 years. But there will come a time when people don't know how to do it any different than the way that tech says. Yes,
I think the trade-off, Spence, and this is the thing is that imagine running my company. So in my head office alone, there's 150 people. Mm-hmm. So if I let 150 people do what they want, let's say you all take your laptops, you go and do what you want to do. It's no longer a structured company, which means the success doesn't come with that. So I, at the moment, cannot rely on tech because I do believe in people, in synergy. I believe in the feeling and the training. There's only so much you can learn online or reading a book, where when you're actually in an environment, I believe that you can learn a lot more. So I do get what you're saying, but I think that if you took my company as an example, and you spread that out across, let's say there's a big company in Dubai, and this big company lets people do what they want, and they've got a big brand and a big logo. They don't work well. They don't succeed. They're nowhere near our level.
Because it's what you understand today.
Agreed.
It's what you understand with your business today.
Agreed.
It will change. And the world will change, and you'll either decide, which luckily you are doing, but you'll either decide to change the way the world's changing, or you'll be one of these types of companies that's set in its ways. There's lots of them here that are like, no, we do it this way. This is the way we do it.
It's evolve or die.
When my kids are 18 years, when my kids are in their 60s, okay, you won't have an office with 150 salespeople in. You'll have 150 salespeople, but you won't have an office because you'll be a hologram.
I'll be 85. I'll be a hologram. Wow, it's got real deep now. I'll be a brain in some glass just telling people what to do.
But your meetings will be held by hologram. You literally will be a hologram.
Okay? I'm not against tech, but I think that there's got to be a transition. I think that a 10 to 20 year period, 100%. But at the moment, where we're at,
there already is a transition. That when I was young, when you started
Snake
out,
on your phone.
Okay, we could make phone calls with these.
Yeah,
that was it. And they had these letters A, B, C, D, E, F on the buttons. It was like, what did they use those letters for?
I get it. And again, we're in the back and forth debate, but you still have to take, as today, forget in 20 years. 20 years isn't going to pay any company's bills at the moment.
No.
So it's what you're doing today, what your vision is in the future. And if you can mix both of them in, I agree, our office won't be the same in 20 years. And 100% we will be innovating. Even when I'm a brain in a glass, I'll be innovating. And that's part of what we're doing. But today, there is, I wouldn't have invested, I think we'd invested 11 million dirhams in 3 retail offices in Dubai. Why have I done that? Because people still do walk past, and I do believe that we will make that money over a 2-3 year period. So if I can do that, mixed in with technology for the next 10-15 years, and then transition towards technology, that's where my business is going to go.
When you first came here,
yes,
was Bayut, Property Finder and Dubizzle in business?
All of them. I think Dubizzle was the first, and that opened a year after we started. Property Finder was about 2 years later.
Okay, so when you first started, those portals weren't there.
We were paper-based.
So
we spent a lot of money on paper.
What, printing pictures?
Yes, so we did. Not particulars. We were in the Gulf News. So we spent so much money.
Paper, of course, the classified ads.
So we literally, this goes back to 2010. We were doing the Gulf News. Honestly, print is so expensive. The print's dead in my opinion. I will not spend any money in a paper at the moment, even in the UK, because I don't believe that the value of return versus what it is. So anyway, we had our office, the 2008 we started. 2010, we cut all advertising in the paper. We'd made money on it, but that money that we made, we were spending for a startup business 150,000 dirhams. So it's £30,000 a year, a month on print. As soon as we pushed that into digital and moved everything there, our revenue went through the roof. And one thing you can do with digital is you can work out where it's come from, cost per lead. There's so much more you can do with it. So going back to my business and what I do, I will move with the times. And you're right, Property Find didn't exist, but when it existed, we moved with it, and we will keep moving with it. If we're still doing the paper now, we wouldn't be sitting here. I'd be making you a water or a cup of tea.
Right, what do you think? Okay, let's have your opinion. Why don't you send us an email, DM us, okay, contact us, get hold of us. You know, there's a million ways to do it, okay? I'll put Lewis's details on it at the end as well. What do you reckon about tech? What do you think's going to happen? There was a comment on LinkedIn from somebody the other day that said VR's got to be playing a part. Yeah. Okay, now whether it's VR, have you ever heard of Yihaodian?
Is that English?
No, it's Chinese for the number one supermarket. Have you ever heard of it?
What's it called?
Yihaodian.
Never.
Okay, for the next episode, I'll be talking about Yihaodian and what they did and see if Lewis can see the impact of that, okay, within commercial real estate in China. But for now, folks, hope you've enjoyed the show. Lewis, you had fun?
Brilliant, mate, as usual.
Okay, it's good stuff, isn't it?
It is.
Again, if you've got comments, if there's stuff that you'd like to add, it's really important. So like it, share it, make sure that you subscribe, make sure you get these episodes every week. It's not only coming to you by video, it's coming to you by podcast as well. And we're here to teach, help, develop your brain, develop your mentality, develop your focus, develop your attitude, and help you become the best you can be. And if you're a buyer or a seller, we're here to give you advice, knowledge, tips and tricks, and see if we can make it a better solution and system for you. Take care, everyone, and we'll see you soon.